What we are looking at today is page 1 of a standard oil and gas lease. This is the lease form that Paloma Resources got me to sign. Now this is a really bad lease, and I'm going to try to teach you from my mistakes why you should not sign a lease like this. Of course, we signed a lease because they were offering us $7,000 per acre, and even though it was a mistake to sign the lease, they went ahead, after we signed the lease, they went ahead and ripped it up anyhow because they had planned to go behind our back, and they had a copy of this lease, and they were going to go ahead and file a copy of this lease against our deed at the county courthouse. They were planning on doing that without even paying us. So it didn't really matter in the end run whether I signed this lease or not, because no matter what lease I signed with them, they were going to rip it up and then go behind my back, file a copy of it against my deed, and they were just going to try to steal all my gas and oil for free. They almost got away with it. I caught them, and now I'm spreading the word. But this is page 1. That's just, some preliminary information why we're looking at this lease. But what this video is about today is I'm going to explain to you why it's important not to sign a lease like this. So let's just get started from the top. As you can see, it's just you're going to have your name, the address, and the amount. The lease, it says there, $7,000 per acre for a lease in the township, and the term. What's important here is the term. As you can see there, this is a 5-year lease term. Now that's the standard. That's not too bad of a thing, but the problem is the prices of the leases are going up and down so much that if you have 2 or more people bidding on your land, you could actually get a 3-year lease, which would be better. But here's some of the more important parts. You got option to renew. The option to renew clause is so important that they have court cases on it. And the court cases are so difficult to understand that only a lawyer can really help you with that. So that's one of the most important clauses there. The option to renew clause is a reason why you have to get a lawyer to look over these clauses in these leases, because you got to understand each and every one of these clauses is negotiable. And as I said, that part there, option to renew, is such an important clause in an oil and gas lease that you have to get the lawyer's opinion on whether we're going to scratch it out, what wording, even a little comma or a little period. Any little word can just change everything, and that's why it's so important to get a lawyer to go over that clause, and then we're going to go on to the next ones here. Hold on. And you're going to hear me say that over and over during this whole analysis of this standard oil and gas lease. You're going to hear me talk about some of these clauses are so important that you have to have a lawyer. Now, did we get a lawyer on this? No, we did not. Was that a mistake? It was a huge mistake. I thought I understood a lot of this. I really didn't. I added some clauses I thought were important, which really were not important. And some of the things I thought were not important, like the option to renew, I didn't think that was important. Turns out it's extremely important, because there are leases that can go on for 100 years. As long as these people are drilling, this 5-year lease could go on for over 100 years. It's very important. Now, royalties. As you can see, we were going to get a 20% royalty. That was something you could get a couple years ago. And right now it's extremely difficult to get a 20% royalty. So again, but if you have a lawyer negotiating for you, it's easier. It may be easier for the lawyer to get the 20%. And it all depends on how many acres you have. The more acres you have, the better chance you have of negotiating a 20% royalty. Now, as I said, this is the standard oil and gas lease that Paloma uses, and of course Paloma is just going to be sold to Gulfport Energies. They're like brothers and sisters. And check out my videos on how they steal your gas and how they cheat and lie. check out my other videos. And now we're going to go to page 2 of this lease. So here we go on to page 2, and what we're looking at now is the shut-in payment provision. Again, another very extremely important provision. How long can the drillers shut the well down and not market it or not take the gas out? How long of a time can that be? Sometimes, if there's no time limit, they can go on for years without pumping any gas out. As you can see, that's a very important provision that lawyers have to go over and negotiate. Remember, every one of these clauses and provisions are negotiable. But if you don't understand them, you cannot negotiate them. So you keep on hearing me say it over and over, don't you? Maybe it's best to have a lawyer go over this, but I think we're getting somewhere. We're getting somewhere here. You're starting to learn that these standard gas and oil leases do not protect you in any way, shape, or form. They do not at all. And here we go. If you don't understand the pooling and unitization clause here, if you don't understand that, well, don't feel too bad, because that even gives the lawyers problems. And if the lawyer has a problem understanding it, then I'm pretty sure you and I are going to have some difficulty also. As you can see here, that this 4 or 5 page document may look simple, and the gas men tell you, oh, it's just a simple standard form. Don't, it's an industry, everybody signs it. No questions asked. Well, you know what? Don't believe them. And as you can see here, it also says includes helium. It's not only natural gas, it also says helium. That's an important little thing. When they buy the gas and oil rights, yes, again, it also includes helium. So now we go on to the next page. And as I said, we did not get a lawyer to look this over. I thought I could handle it on my own. I was naive. I added some things about the protecting the water. The points I put in there that I thought was protecting the water didn't really protect the water. Now here's an interesting one here. Warranty of title. It says here the lessor hereby generally warrants the title. This is a bad idea. You shouldn't. It's up to the gas people to do their due diligence on the title. They should know what they're getting into, because they have lawyers to look over the title, and they should do their due diligence. You shouldn't have to warranty the title. That's my own opinion. Of course, your lawyer may have a different opinion on that. And it says here a memorandum of lease. And this is actually where we got cheated. They filed this memorandum of lease against our deed on our property. They went to the county courthouse and they filed this memorandum. They filed it on our deed at the county courthouse. But guess what? We didn't get paid. We did not get paid. They even ripped this contract up in front of us and said no deal. They went behind our back, filed that memorandum anyhow, behind our back. I think that's fraud, people. That's fraud. In some places, it's a felony. This probably wouldn't have happened. Had we had a lawyer, we would have got this bonus payment at the time the lease was signed. Of course, that was another big deal. That's what I always wanted. I wanted our check to change. I wanted money to change hand. When the lease was signed, we should have got our bonus payment. That's what a lawyer would have asked. Because we did not have a lawyer, we signed this stupid document, and it all went downhill quickly. It all went downhill quickly. Hire yourself a lawyer, save yourself a lot of pain and suffering.